everybody. I'm Mrs. Clemens. And I'm Mr. Marshall. And this is U.S. History Flipped. Of course, as you are probably aware, I am not Mr. Marshall and Mrs. Clemens at the same time. That would just be crazy. Mr. Marshall did the first series of videos, and I'm doing the second because I'm cool like that. All right, so this has been our series on industrialization, immigration, and urbanization. And if you can believe it, we are on urbanization. And hopefully you guys notice that there's a root word here, urban. Urban is cities. So urbanization is the growth of cities. All right, so I want you guys to check this out. It's really neat. When you look at it, we've got these circles, and so the bigger the circle is, the bigger the city. And so this is 1860. Now you might be like, okay, whatever, 1860. By the way, 1860, that's the year Lincoln gets elected. 1861 is the year the Civil War starts. So it just kind of gives you an idea. These don't have anything going because they're all territories. They're not necessarily states yet. So you look on the west, got a little bit going on in California, but not very much. Today we look at Texas as being, very populous, not so much. You got New Orleans, but nothing, the South really doesn't have a lot going on. It's the Northeast, and you could see New York City, you could see Philadelphia, but that's kind of it. Now we go 20 years later, now California has a little bit, now Nevada has some stuff going on, Texas has a bit more going on, but now you could see kind of going along the Mississippi, we've got more happening. Now you can see along the Ohio River, now you could see along the Great Lakes, you've got more, and New York is growing, and we've got all kinds of cities going. In the Northeast. Now we go to 1900, and now, we're getting even bigger out here. We've got more here. We're even moving into the Midwest. Chicago is really growing now. New York is really growing. Philadelphia is growing. But now you've got Baltimore is getting a lot bigger. Here's Buffalo is really big. Here's Pittsburgh. So definitely we are growing. Now, I believe there's supposed to be an animation. So when you're doing these notes and you say, oh, but I don't have to write anything, I'm sorry, I forgot to put in the animation. So if you're actually listening, you're going to know that you have to write. And if you're asking me if you have to write, then I know that you're not listening. All right, so negative effects, definitely housing. Things are not good because things are growing so quickly. We have a lot of tenements, and at this point they're slum apartments. They're pretty nasty. We also have issues with health because there aren't really very good building codes, if any. The walls are thin, there's no indoor plumbing. There's rats all over the place, and people are getting sick with really nasty diseases that we don't even really have anymore. In terms of politics, we're in one of the most corrupt time periods in American history. We've got these things called political machines that basically run the cities, and they actually just kind of split up people, and they say, oh, you're Irish, you need to go to this part of town because, that's where this particular Irish boss is, or you're Italian, you need to go to this part of town. And they tell you who you had to vote for, and they'd tell you what kind of job you're going to do, and, really limited people's abilities. You're writing this also. So positive effects, there's actually some good stuff. There's a phrase that's necessity is the mother of all invention, and that's what ends up happening. There is a necessity. There's a need to invent new things. And so, this is where we get mass transportation. This is where you start to get subways. This is where you start to get trains coming and going from cities. Elevators, because, you're building 30, 50, 80-story buildings, you need to not have people walk all the way up the stairs. You've got skyscrapers, you've got electricity. Oh my gosh, this is such a major thing. It made the cities so much safer. Cultural, You've got all these people together, you need to have something for them to do during their time off. And so they're going to theaters and they're going to parks. And this is the time when you have cities create things like Central Park. Community improvement, people trying to help the masses of immigrants that are coming. And so you get settlement houses. And so their thing is that they're going to try to help out the immigrants. They're going to learn English. They're going to give them basic reading skills. And the first one that was created was by this woman named Jane Addams. And I did spell it correctly with the 2 Ds. And she created her place in Chicago, and it's called Hull House. And she'll end up being on a later vocab along with settlement houses. And absolutely, they were there to provide some aid to these immigrants. And so this is the Hull House in Chicago. And, it's just a modest kind of building where they help these folks out. This, hopefully you guys recognize, as Central Park. And, this was designed so that people in this urban area would have places to get out and to stretch their legs. Oh my God, this picture kills me. These guys just sitting here hanging out at lunch. And again, you notice there's no harnesses, there's no nets or anything. Here, this guy is walking out on the ledge. It's insane to me. Again, these guys all high up, crazy. One of the things that we're going to be talking about after we finish this unit is reform, the progressive era. And this is the reason why they need to reform. This is the inside of a tenement, and this is a police officer, and this guy's also a police officer. And you look, and it's just horrible, the living conditions that these guys are facing. Again, here you've got a bed that's all just ridiculous, not very much furniture, the floors are terrible. There's not a lot of ventilation between the buildings. And I think, here you've got, I would not want to hang my laundry out there. All right, so again, even though there's no animation, please write this. So we do have some changes that are happening. Women are starting to get jobs outside the home. And a lot of times, if they're a lower class, they're doing domestic work like cooking or cleaning. If they're sort of middle class, they're doing secretarial work, maybe a teacher. And if they're upper class, they're not really working like for a paycheck, but they're taking part in reform movements, particularly temperance, trying to end the consumption of alcohol, and suffrage, trying to get women the right to vote. That was the big two things that women were working on. There's definitely still, discrimination against African Americans. Jim Crow's still going on. Even in the North, there's a lot of discrimination. Older workers, there is no Social Security, so when you can't work anymore, it kind of stinks to be you because there's nothing for you. And then the disabled, and think about this, guys. You're working in a factory, you get your arm cut off. Today you'd get a settlement from the company and you'd get government assistance. Back then you got nothing, and now you have to become a beggar. All right, folks. Well, there's only one more segment left after this. I'll see you then.